Good evening. It is so good to see old friends and new friends. In January of 2020, I walked down the stairs and I met John Jakubowski. I go reach out my hand to introduce myself, and he says, I already know who you are. If you lived in the 1780s, would you have been a Federalist or an Anti-Federalist? And I went, nice to meet you too, John. We went back and forth, and he said, I still think you're wrong, but you need to go to Forge. I was 19 and had no interest in politics or policy. I wanted to be a high school history teacher at the time. So out of fear, because I have no idea what the space is, I didn't apply. A couple weeks later, I was at an event at Grand Canyon University where I went to school, and I was just talking to my RA, and she said, oh, I went to Israel last summer. It was a life-changing experience. And I said, oh, who'd you go to Israel with? She said, this tiny organization in Ohio you've never heard of. She said, Forge, and I went, funny story, I have heard of it. Hearing about it in DC and in Arizona about an Ohio organization told me God was speaking. So, not because I thought I could, but because I needed to walk in obedience, I went to Forge. At Forge, I met some of the most incredible people of my life. But I was still terrified to go into politics. As a believer, I honestly didn't think I could. I had a long list of reasons why believers should not enter the public square. And then Adam gave his famous William Wilberforce speech. And he didn't know it, but as he was talking, he simultaneously knocked down every single one of my concerns and my fears. And a friend told me, Emma, do you think the Lord's not going to lead you somewhere where he has not already gone? I went to the academy, and door after door continued to open. I got to intern in DC, got to intern in a state legislative capacity in Arizona. But what was incredible is that was 4 years ago. Within 2 years, the same bill I ran at the Forge Leadership Summit, I got to run a version of at the Arizona legislature, and it was on the governor's desk. Unfortunately, we have a split legislature, so she vetoed it, but it was life-changing. The next year, I accidentally walked into an interview. I thought it was a networking coffee, 3 questions, and I'm like, oh, this is a job interview. I highly recommend knowing what you're walking into before you get there. I was meeting with the Deputy Chief of Staff at the Arizona State Senate. They were interviewing me to be an education policy advisor. 2 weeks later, I get a call saying the president would like to offer you a job, and I was floored. I am not qualified by any means, resume-wise, but I have friends from Forge. No, I'm gonna use the biblical term, brothers and sisters who encouraged me and prayed for me. And as I knew I wasn't qualified, they reminded me that if the Lord was leading me here, he was already qualifying me for this position. So Forge has not only been beneficial career-wise, making me change paths completely, but has also encouraged me in my heart and in my soul and in my mind. It has challenged me to think through things pragmatically. Can this bill actually work? And also, how is this going to impact the people of Arizona? Does this stand for the value? Does this represent the values I stand for? I encourage you to continue to talk to the students. If they're Forge alum, you'll hear many similar stories. And if they're new students, I cannot wait to hear how Forge will transform your life. Thank you for everyone at Forge, and thank you for having us. Enjoy.